Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. My name is Jen Ether, rap artist from Pittsburgh, PA, Wilkinsburg to be specific. I'm going to do one song, and we're going to get straight into the show. I look up in the sky, I wonder why the real ones die. I shed a tear for all the years I cried. I look up in the sky, I wonder why the real ones die. I shed a tear for all the years I cried. All those years I cried, it must have been some silent nights. I swear to God, I got so high, I took some silent flights. Y'all niggas sick of me, I'm sick of you, you sick of I. 80s baby, damn, I do a shit, I'm just like mine. Got stick my tongue out, then I fly. I go for mine, yes, I'm the apple of my eye. I got desire, got that will, I got that fire. I got the drive, I manifested in my mind. I look up in the sky, I wonder why the real ones die. I shed a tear for all the years I cried. I look up to the sky, I wonder why the real ones die. I shed a tear for all the years I cried. All those tears I cried, all those years I cried. All those tears I cried, all those tears I cried. All those tears I cried, all those tears I cried. Damn, don't dry my eyes. All those tears I cried, all those tears I cried. All those tears I cried, all those tears I cried. All those tears I cried, all those tears I cried. Damn, don't dry my eyes. What do they say? Say there's no pain, say there's no gain. I've been through the rain, selling the cane, that's how I made change. Now it's all change, still get the change, still get the change. Restart the game, staying in my lane. People is lame, not in my way, what did you say? I'm raising my stocks, raising the stocks, y'all people won't play. I'll show you the way, that's what I did, I made a play. I tuck it away and let it grow up where it stay. I look up in the sky, why they go? Damn. Yeah, all the years I cried, I look up to the sky. I wonder why the real ones die. I shed a tear for all the years I cried. Thank you very much, guys.
Woo woo! How about that?
Wait, before you go, because everybody's watching, in case this is the only part they see, where do they find you online?
Well, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, Jen Ether. That's Ginether.
Love it. All right, Jen Ether. But she will be back, so go get your donut, your bagel, your coffee, whatever you're doing this Saturday morning, and get ready. All right, so go for it, Rach.
All right. So welcome, Facebook world. This is what we do every Saturday. You wanted to see the behind the scenes. We wanted to kind of trick you because it looks like we're in this like cafe or little recording studio. We're not. Where are we?
Paige, you want to turn the camera? We are in Lawrenceville.
We're just giving her 500 things to do.
At Mix Camera. Listen, she gets
We're
to
not
work.
at Mix Camera.
Mix Camera. Mixed Candle. Sorry. Oh my. We are in Lawrenceville at Mixed Candle.
This is
as I
what
was
happens
looking at
whenever
the camera.
I let John intro.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
So we're at Mixed Campbell in Lawrenceville, and this is what we're going to do.
What did I say? Campbell. Mixed Candle Company. I don't know. It's a candle.
All right, let's start that over again because we need a good edit. We are at Mixed Candle in Lawrenceville.
All right.
All right. So we do a Rorik ad, and then we'll get really into the podcast. I'll make no more mistakes.
Better not. Rorick Honda is known as #1 for so many reasons, but the Civic, the Passport, and the Odyssey won best for residual value in 2022. Everyone has their Honda preference, so make time for a Rorick Honda rep to learn which ride best suits your journey. As always, visit
Rorick.com for all of your vehicle needs. And we are, again, coming from Mix Candle in Lawrenceville. Whew. So this is the Jagoff podcast. If you're listening for the very first time, we ask that you subscribe to it wherever you get your podcasts, or you can watch it like this, usually every Saturday morning.
Right.
And, this is the behind the scenes. That's why I just completely screwed up the name of the place. The good
Thank
news
goodness
is
it's just
you
behind
can
the
listen to the edit and not
and you
hear
won't even
any
know.
of that stuff.
You won't even know. Except,
Right.
the Candle people are sitting right here watching you. Like,
know.
we're not Campbells.
They're like, wait.
We're not cans. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Anyway.
So you can listen to the podcast on Odyssey or wherever you get your podcasts, but you can also listen to us on 100.7 Star every 4:55 p.m. Monday through Friday with Kelly on air with Talk of the Town by Jagoff Podcast.
And then we pull up a parking chair with E every Friday where we tell you what are the coolest places in Pittsburgh. Because let's face it, Pittsburgh went from a coal town and this smog city to this amazing, robust place in which people want to visit different places because we have food and so much going on, entertainment galore.
And then on Fridays, or Thursdays actually, at 7:10 a.m. on Y108, the Wide Awake Morning Show with Kristen, because everybody else is off having babies and things like that, right?
Yeah, they picked
Maria,
us. We're not having babies.
Kristen's
so
all
we're
by
doing-
herself.
Yeah.
So at 7:10 in the morning, you can listen to the Jagoff of the Week, which takes us to what was on the blog. And Kristen was one of the people who actually contributed to the blog this
Well, she
last
said
time.
a listener actually called and said they hate whenever people are grocery shopping and they literally will go into like produce or meat or something that is completely unsanitary where they will leave like a package of ground meat or chicken. And she actually had a picture of that chicken just sitting on a shelf.
And
Like,
then that led to...
on God's green earth.
That led to a listener giving her a picture of a gallon of
yeah.
milk
A
sitting
gallon of
on
milk.
the shelf.
Yeah,
So the blog is about people being jagoffs. The rest of us are trying to make the place nice.
Yeah.
And so we call out anybody. So if you're behind a bad driver, see a dumb criminal, whatever, let us know because we'll put it on the blog.
We're here to let people know about it. All right. So here's the backstory. I always give a little backstory on why we're where we are. So my 13-year-old daughter, who became 13 in January, I wanted to do something different. I'm not one of those moms who is like, let's have the ultimate party because I'm over those days. She's the youngest. I don't care. I never did it. But I just wanted a unique experience. And as I was telling Abby, I wanted the girls from North Hills to know the city, to know how amazing little towns and little neighborhoods like Lawrenceville are. So we came here for a little field trip for Adeline's birthday, and it was the best experience. Not only was it a good experience here because you have to see it. We could describe it easily. It's so bright. I love the fact that it's so colorful. There's so many different scents, but it's not overpowering. I will say that.
That's
Isn't
what
that
I was
crazy?
just about to tell you.
I
You're
told
right.
you that.
Right.
But the coolest part, and this is what I told her, everybody really claims to be a candle connoisseur. Oh, I go here. Bath & Body has the best, or Yankee Candle has the best. First of all, shop local. And second of all, I burned it and could not believe. Do you remember how long? I literally threw it away last week. That was the end of it. I couldn't burn it anymore. Mm-hmm. So how cool was that?
And I'm not like a big candle person, but yeah, that is the first thing when you come in here. When you go to a hair salon, you don't want it to smell like a perm. Yeah. When you come into this place, you're not overwhelmed at all. It just smells really, really pleasant.
We're going to have to ask Dave the Barber if there are perms still. That just sort of made me think, I don't know. I'm not a hundo, but
but yeah, so we are at Mix Candle, and we have Anthony and Abby. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Hi.
Before we get into you guys, who else do we have on the podcast? We didn't tell everybody who they should be waiting
secret.
for.
The whole thing is a secret. That's why we faked everybody out at the beginning, right?
Right.
No, we're really excited because it's really important that people know Pittsburgh people. And so we have two people who we've wanted. We're going to make Cindy Lash come on this podcast. We are having Katie Blackley from WESA. I've been trying to get her to come back on because we are such supporters of WESA, and we love the things that they're doing. And now, 6 episodes in, there's a new podcast that we want you to listen to other than this one. And Dave?
Yeah, Dave the Barber. It's so cool, to even understand the history of the barber. But it's interesting to see how social media can boost a person's career if they're good at
you have to
social
read
media.
the show notes because you're going to be surprised at his new location.
Yeah.
It's kind
All
of
right.
a cool
So,
story there. So
in the
now we
meantime,
can talk to you
Abby
guys.
and Anthony are here. Oh yeah, and Jen Ether. Don't forget, she'll be back. He'll be back. So the Jen Ether will be back, and then we have Abby and Anthony. and you are going to help Paige make a candle today, right? Isn't that the process today?
Yes.
That's the plan. Tell us about this place. So we talk a lot about ustas, right? Pittsburgh refers to as it used to be kind of thing. So here you are right on Butler in Lawrenceville, and it was Candle Lab before.
Yes, it was Candle Lab.
Okay. Yeah. So explain what happened there, because I used to work in Lawrenceville.
Okay.
And so we would walk through and, amazing different small shops, places to go. What is it about this location and why a candle place?
I used to work for the Candle Lab in Columbus.
Okay.
And so I moved here about 6 years ago, and I spent a lot of time in Lawrenceville because I didn't know what I want to do. And
Sure.
I was kind of like, I know a lot about candles, and
Yeah.
I love Lawrenceville. And I found this location same time as the building was being sold. And I was like, this is where we need to have a candle store. This is going to go crazy because of the restaurants, and the foot traffic, obviously, but just the energy and the business are always changing and creating. And it's just really so much fun in this neighborhood. It's kind of, you have to do it, and we were a Candle Lab up until about a year ago, almost exactly. And the Candle Lab was sold during the pandemic. And we were kind of just like, maybe it's time for us to do our own thing and just kind of just be us, And one thing about the Candle Lab was their brand was a little bit black and white and gray, and one thing.
Sure, like nondescript.
Yeah, nondescript, just more kind of matched everything. And I remember just looking around and being like, it doesn't really feel like the vibe of the experience,
Right.
It didn't feel fun or exciting or I wanted to be here, and so I was like, when we were recreating this, I was like, I need color, we need color, we need energy in this.
That's a great point. When we came in here, when it was that.
The cookie, I told you.
Okay, yeah.
We came
And
on
you're
the cookie
right.
tour.
It just made me think, as I'm looking around, you really did make a lot of cosmetic changes to
We did
to really
all
get that
this.
experience.
Yeah. We just wanted to match the experience and the
Yeah.
fun that you have when you come here, because you're always celebrating when you're coming here.
So Candle Lab is a chain.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, it's now turned into something else. There are a couple locations in Cincinnati still.
Gotcha.
What's left of it, but it's pretty much gone.
But Mixed Candle Company is
just here.
Right.
Yeah,
We own it.
So-
I
Pittsburgh
love it.
owns
We
own it.
We own it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We
I
don't.
own it, but
No, and she's like, no, you don't, Jagoff. But what I love, that's the point I was trying to make, is that it's a you stuff, but the coolest part is it's yours.
yeah, it's always been mine. We just finally got to make it my own, and what we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So,
Great
Anthony, talk about people can come in here and just buy candles. They
absolutely.
right. But the whole idea is to bring a party in here, right? That has to be the most fun for you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
For sure.
Are there, how there are bridezillas? Are there candlezillas? That people come in here and they very.
Yes, for sure. I think that goes with just any
Okay.
experience.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thing. Obviously, there are some people who it's harder to satisfy them.
Right.
So, but it's kind of like a challenge.
Yeah.
To actually pinpoint exactly what they're looking for.
Okay.
So I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah.
You accept the
but
challenge.
I accept the challenge.
I love it. I love it.
So walk us through the process. People call. I was one of those people. I called and said, very sheepishly, can I bring 13-year-olds? That's the first question. But you get all kinds, like he said, there's bridal parties, there's get to know Pittsburgh parties, there's just friends who want to come in kind of thing. Walk us through the process. What do you tell them?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is just uncovering what they're coming in for, so that we know
Sure.
what to expect.
Yeah.
To know what they're celebrating. So whenever they come in, we can just kind of greet them and know what we're in for. Because the bridal parties, you can be a little bit more relaxed with that. So I would say,
figure that part out.
Figuring that part out for sure. But yeah, it's a pretty standard process with bigger groups, small groups. So they come in, they all get the same grade experience.
And our intern Paige is going to go through that process, right?
So you give them a notepad, right? And then you get to choose how many scents.
You write down as many as you like. We keep about 110 ready to go for you.
Do
to
you get
smell.
people who go smell every one of them?
Absolutely.
Oh
yeah,
my
people are really excited about it. And some people smell two.
Yeah. Well, because some people
you
think
know.
they know exactly
Yeah.
what they want, but that could change too, I'm
Right,
sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we just need to kind of narrow down our big list to their list of favorites. And so we can help combine things and make a good candle of the scents they actually like.
Okay, so they can literally go to the wall, right? And they can smell so that they can figure out. Paige, start.
The
there you
candle
go.
wall,
Yeah.
yep.
Paige, do not smell 110 of them. Yeah, look.
The
this
candle wall with the
Yeah.
candles, not the oil.
All right, so Paige, while Paige is over at the wall of candles,
Yeah.
she's about to be your next Candlezilla.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's okay.
No, so she's over there so that you smell the candles, and that gives you an idea at that point. There's a recipe for that particular candle, right? So then you sit us down, and what's the process after that? Like, so once Paige is done picking her scent, what do? We all sit down.
Yeah, so you'll sit down, we'll take a look at it, we'll have you narrow that list down to like 2 or 3 different scents that really stand out to you.
But you also help. I think it's important
absolutely.
to say. Yeah.
Yes. So like the 3 scents, they don't have to go well together.
Right.
Most likely they won't.
Yeah.
So that's where we come in. So we kind of just take a look at that, and then we focus on those and look at the other scents on the list and try to pair them up. And ultimately, like we said, we do like 2 or 3 different scents. But this is the time where we nip a bad candle with it, like in the bud. Okay. So we don't let it happen. So we're here to completely guide you in the process.
And we dive through like what if they just want to tell us like I really want like a relaxing candle or a fresh candle, like even that much information we can kind of gather and figure out what they want to put together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Isn't that awesome?
And then how long does the process take?
It takes about like 30 to 45
Okay.
minutes. Larger groups can take longer, but generally that's kind of.
Can people bring wine and things like that in here?
Yeah, we
to
are
do that?
BYOB, so you can bring your own alcohol and drinks. You just don't allow food, so no snacks or anything.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to eat during this.
And it's fine. But what I loved was, and you were the person I spoke to actually, you were like pushing other places in Lawrenceville. Like, hey, take your break while everything's sort of like brewing, so to speak, right? And settling and getting ready. Go explore Lawrenceville, So we went over to get pizza for an hour or so.
That's pretty awesome.
And that's kind of my favorite part about this business is that we have to be in really cool places so people can spend 2 hours in the neighborhood, looking and shopping and eating, and exploring, you know. So we try all of the places, so we can recommend, we're basically concierge. Lawrenceville. It's like, what are the hours? When's happy hour? You know, which stores do we shop in? Just so that we can talk about it. And, we have nothing bad to say about any place because every place is awesome.
It is.
Here.
I agree. I love Lawrenceville.
Is there a number 1 seller? Primanti's always has the number 2 seller on their side. But do you guys have is there a number 1 seller everybody
fragrance?
wants? Yeah, fragrance.
I mean, ginger ale tends to be our number
right?
1. It's like she didn't smell it.
Paige is so animated. She's the perfect person to do this. She's going back for ginger ale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So ginger ale,
ale.
for some reason, like I think it's most interesting and kind of something you don't get other places. So
interesting.
Yeah.
How about that?
Right. Just as long as there's not a ketchup one.
Listen,
not yet.
We did a podcast at Grandpa Joe's, and they blindfolded us, and we taste tested something, and it was pop, and we drank it, and ketchup
makes him sick.
Makes me gag. Yeah. So the pop taste was ketchup flavored.
no.
I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, so
I
ginger
thought I was
ale's
gonna
beautiful.
die.
All right.
Yeah, ginger ale.
Where does everybody find you so that when they're looking for something to do, when they need to explore more of Lawrenceville, where do they find you on social media, online, all that good stuff so that they can experience this?
Yeah, we're at Mixed Candle Co. On Instagram and Facebook. Our website has a reservation form if you want to make reservations for any size group, 2 to 50. We'll take care of it. But yeah.
Oh, so it can be private too. You can
No, we don't do private.
Gotcha.
Just because we just don't. It's not never really been worth it. And the process is kind of fast, So we usually just like come make your candles, then go eat, you know.
Go do your thing.
Go do your thing and then come back.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, look at their shelves. We have to get pictures. Like there's so many people who are going to be coming back here.
We keep them for like a year, 6 months or a year. So we have like bins and bins in the closets of all the things.
Can someone call and say, I have no interest in doing this on my own. Here's what I'm thinking. Will you make it for me?
Yeah.
How about that?
Absolutely.
Wow.
We're trying to put that on our website that people can do that, like customize a form or have like a video sent consultation with us. But that's kind of still
And then can you Grubhub it to your house?
No.
That's the next step, right?
With the pizza.
Yeah, right. No, I love it. So we always do a question of the day, and it's funny because I was like, I really need to think about this. Do we play on the mixing? Do we play on like, are you an explorer? Are you a this or you a that? Paige said she wants to go simple. We let Paige, because she does a pretty good job of questions of the day. She said, what would be your scent. If you were a scent, what would you say you were? And it may be wrong, right? After, like you said, you go smell it and you go, this isn't me. But what would you describe if you were a scent?
I mean, I can tell you my favorite fragrances. I always go grapefruit and rosemary. It's clean and bright and
Same.
and that's kind of usually, that's my go-to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anthony?
Lemon.
Oh, why? You said that with like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it has like sour and like sweet qualities.
So you're sweet and sour.
Like
You're-
yeah.
Okay.
I would say
you're a Sour Patch Candy.
when I need to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
What's yours?
Well, I would go grapefruit.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You?
I have found this coconut thing to be like, I go to Giant Eagle and buy up every coconut wipe I can find. They Clorox
Yeah, he does,
wipes.
yeah.
But the one thing I don't
a little
like
much.
is lavender. My grandmother had lavender soap and perfume, and I loved her to death, but boy, I hated
But he
that
hated to
perfume.
smell her. Thank God we didn't bring her here. You guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you opening your time. And then we'll check back in with you as we're talking to our guests. We can see how Paige's process is going. Look how happy she is.
All right.
Must be nice to be Paige.
All
Oh
right,
my
so we're
God.
going to talk to Dave, but right now we have some music from Jen Ether.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Dave.
Dave, we have wipes here if you like.
And you can sit right next to me.
Make sure we're still running.
Watch. I can't believe we finally got an 87-degree day. We're inside.
I was stuck at work all day yesterday, so
Oh, jeez.
like I went next door to the restaurant right next to my suites, and
El Campesino?
yeah, I literally bolted for it. I was like, I don't even want to feel how nice it is out here.
Don't you love it? So, do you know where he is? Did you read up? Isn't that crazy? Yeah, and that's what I was saying to him when I met you. I was working on Sola Salons, remember? Right. It's funny. Awesome. Are we good?
No, I'm sorry. You don't have to. I'm so sorry. You're like, come on, John.
Yeah. You are killing me. Just saying, like, let's do Chronicles, True Confessions by Rachel Rennebeck. I think I'm gonna kill John today. He's so you're like out of it. Are you ready?
All right. Ready?
You good?
Yeah.
All right. Dave, you ready?
I am.
All right. So here's the cool story about Dave. So we wanted to have you on not too long ago, and then this little thing called COVID hit. And so, we did a lot of Zooms, and then as things were coming into place, you were making a major change in the industry, right? Like not the industry, but location. So when I was doing my creepy research through social media and such, I knew you were in Dormont, but now you've moved right like in my backyard. You're in the North Hills now.
Yeah, I moved to the My Salon Suites right on McKnight Road, right next to El
for
Campesino.
Pittsburghers, like we said, so you're in Lawrenceville and you say across the street from, so you're where El Campesino is, the plaza.
Yeah,
right?
I'm literally right next door to El Campesino.
I love it. That's so good to know.
Is that
because
good
I
for
go
you?
there all the
Are
time.
you an El Campesino fan?
I am.
Who isn't?
I eat there probably 3 times a week. My wife, she hates Mexican food, so it's good for me.
Oh, that's so funny. That is so funny. Their guacamole is amazing. Love their guacamole. But listen, so I love the fact that you're in there because we were talking before we even came on about, and I loved how open and honest you were about, these My Salon suites and the Sola salons and things like that. Because I was saying to you, when I first met John, in 2016, something like that, I was working on Sola salons, and it was the hardest concept for Pittsburgh to understand because we knew there's these big, lavish hair places, and that's where you go. And then all of a sudden this concept came. So explain what that is and why it works for you for right now.
So I wanted to get my foot in the door with ownership, and doing the My Salon Suites was just something that was easy for me to do. I didn't have to feel like I was responsible for someone else's income other than mine.
Right.
So I put all my attention into marketing myself, and being around 20 plus other successful people that have already done it.
Yeah.
Getting feedback from them, asking them what they did to help themselves, because
You're kind of in it together.
yeah, we all work together. And before I was at the My Salon Suites, I actually worked at a barbershop in Irwin, so I made a 45-minute move. So I basically started with no clients.
Okay.
So I remember my first week, there was a couple days that I was sitting there and only had a couple haircuts. I'm like, man, what am I doing? But
I bet. Yeah, just like anybody.
You're like,
right?
I'll just have the chips and salsa.
yeah. Like I'll take what's free.
Yeah.
Water with a lot of lemon.
Right?
No, but and just to be clear, in case people don't know, so it's sectioned. It's not like a full building. It's a sectioned portion.
One chair.
So that you can one chair. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think the coolest part is you have to learn how to be the everything. You're the owner. You're the worker. You're the grunt person. You're the marketer. You're doing it all.
You're the one paying the taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. We just talked about that with Lily and Val from Lily and Val the other week about how, a doctor, a lawyer, a barber, they come out of school and they know their trade,
right?
But they don't know accounting. They don't know marketing. They don't know they hang the shingle up and they don't know. So you have to get in and get your hands dirty. If it depends on you at that point, right? You have to learn it all. And it seems, your age tells me you know social media well, but like you now know social media very well for business because there's two different things, posting the ice cream you had today versus posting for business. It seems like you've adopted that tool quite well.
Yeah, that's how I get a lot of the clients that I have. And speaking about social media, that's how I became the in-house barber for the University of Pittsburgh football team. I cut a few of the Steelers. I cut Jason Zucker from the Pittsburgh Penguins. I got
Walk
flown
us
out to
through
Nashville.
that. How did that start? Who did you get? Well, not the social media.
Athletes?
Yeah, getting into that.
So the very first athlete that I ever cut was Zach Trotman. He played for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Messaged him on Instagram one day before training camp and was like, hey, whenever you're in town, let me know. I'd love to give you a haircut. He's like, yeah, for sure. I'll hit you up. I'm like, okay, I'm never going to hear from this guy. Mm-hmm. Well, he hits me up the week of training camp and he's like, hey, come to this hotel. Well, I go to the wrong one. I went to the one directly across from the Penguins practice facility.
Assuming
I'm like
that's
in the
what
lobby
yeah.
waiting for him. And then he's like, hey, where are you at? And I didn't realize there was another one directly across the street. So I ended up going over there, and he was like, do you have time to cut a few other guys? And I was like, sure. So in comes Teddy Bluger.
Oh, boy.
And this was Teddy's rookie season, so I didn't really know too much about him, but they were both really great to me. They both, I spent probably like an hour and a half with them, just getting to know them personally, getting to know them like professionally, learning about Teddy, where he's from and stuff like that. And then from there, I ended up getting a couple Steelers. I used to cut Daniel McCullough, who played for the Steelers. He was a defensive tackle. He went to the Chicago Bears. I cut J.P. Holtz, who played at Pitt. He was with the Chicago Bears last season, just signed with the Saints. I have Mason Cole, who signed with the Steelers. He's coming in this afternoon. So
Excuse me.
To make a candle
All right.
or get a haircut?
I might have to tell him about this place.
That is so cool because
Process is cool, right? He just kind of put it out there.
it shows that you can handle that because
Yeah.
a lot of people get that and go, hey everybody, I'm doing this, and then they just kind of fan person it versus just kind of handling it in a very cool demeanor, and you seem like you're able to just kind of cruise through that.
Yeah, and I'd say like probably the most nerve-wracking one was probably Jason Zucker. He's probably the most like well-known guy that I've cut.
Yeah.
And just treating him like a human. I mean, me and Jason, we talk about, so I have a daughter. He has 3 kids and a stepdaughter. So just relating as fathers and then getting to know Jason outside of hockey. I mean, we talk about hockey here and there, but honestly, we talk about like his music interest. Things along those lines.
Let's talk about barbering.
Ask him if he knows Jen Ether.
Yeah, right.
You have to push the people on the podcast.
sure.
Right?
We think you should have Jen Ether come to your salon.
Yeah, and perform.
There.
Just putting it out
let's
there.
talk about barbering in general because it was such a big deal. Like when I was a kid, and then it faded away, went more salon-ish kind of thing, and now really barbering, getting a shave, getting a hot towel, getting a fine haircut, that's completely come back. And it's almost like, it was a shave and a haircut for $5 or whatever, the slogan would be. Now it's a boutique.
It's a process.
It's an art. It's honestly an art.
There you go. That's a good word.
Yeah. So honestly, the barber industry is probably at the highest point that it's ever been in the industry. Yeah. So for a period of time, like you said, barbering was like not the cool thing for guys to do.
Yeah.
Like the long hair was the in thing, which is starting to become the in thing now. But before, barbers were mainly clippers and very minimal shear work. And now you go to a barber like myself or a lot of the barbers here in Pittsburgh, and they're able to do the longer styles. They're able to give you exactly what you want. And it's more so not just like you're in and out in 20 minutes. I mean, I make it a whole experience at my suite. I do facial massage. I do beard treatments, scalp treatments. I mean, I can help you with pretty much anything.
And go ahead.
No, has the change has all of this changed? The art changed because the tools are different, or people are just better at using the traditional tools?
So for a while, there wasn't really a barber school here in Pittsburgh, so people had to go to cosmetology school. So
okay.
Barbers learn that end of it. They learn perms. They learn.
See, you had to throw that in because I said I don't know if perms are still a thing.
Yeah.
They are still a thing.
Yeah, I do perms. I get high school kids, because they want the fade on the sides.
That's
and then,
right.
Like,
What's
the
his name?
curly on top.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that look.
Like the mullet. They call it lettuce now.
Everybody comes.
lettuce.
Yeah. Everybody comes in and says they want their hair to look like Jake Gensel's, like on
Yes.
top, but they want to fade on the side. That's like the.
And you're like
the
business in the
go-to.
front, party in the back. And they're like,
I have a
wait.
couple clients that still rock the mullet.
Oh, buddy, I love it. My son does, but he calls it lettuce. It's so funny. No, but I love the fact from a female perspective, you know, I guess, and just from my viewing, that never went away for women, right? The salon life, it is what it is. Like no one has any issue with spending $200 on getting treatment and having your color done and you're this and you're that. And well, my hair's dry, so I have to do this. For guys, it was sometimes like, I'll just buzz you at home. You know, it was sort of like this, well, no big deal. But I love the fact that you're showing that, no, this is a grooming process that needs to be done by someone who knows the art.
And guys are certainly more into it at this point. They don't want that $5 haircut. They want,
for sure.
It's now
For
a part
sure.
of their life.
And then, like, me being in the North Hills, there's not really, not to say that there's not competition with me, but there's not barbers, there's not shops that are doing the services that I'm doing, not providing the experience that I'm providing. And that's why so many of these athletes are willing to drive from Cranberry, Elwood City, Wexford, all that to my suite to get this done, because they want that specialized treatment. They want the sharp razor lineup. They want the beard treatment where I clean their beard, I do the lineup, I do the hot towel, I do the steam, I do all that. And it's an experience, and then they ask me for recommendations, and I have players that I've cut that have gotten traded, and they've paid me to go on social media to find them a barber that provides the services that I provide, because they don't want to lose out on that. They want the full experience, and when they come back to Pittsburgh, they always make sure that they book an appointment with me.
Dude, that's amazing.
Listen, I'm so serious. I'm sending my boys, because you literally live 3 minutes, you don't live in your salon, right?
I mean, I'm there 70 hours a week. So.
Right. No, you're there literally. I mean, you're
That's
3 minutes
amazing.
away from me,
Yeah.
so you just got 2 more clients.
Wow.
There you go.
How about that?
Easy enough.
See that?
Yeah, perfect the lettuce.
And one
on
of
my
them will be
19-year-old.
a celebrity when he's a major league architect engineer.
Let's hope, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. We're so happy you came on. Thank you so much.
No
Where does
problem.
everybody find you? On social media, website, all that good
Yeah,
stuff?
on all social media platforms, it's PittsburghDave_. And then also currently, there's 1 day left to vote for Best in the Burg. So make sure you go on there and vote for me.
All right, done.
I've only been open 8 months, so this would be huge. And then in June, I'll have another big announcement that I'm going to be making on social media. I won a huge award. I'm getting flown out to Orlando at the beginning of June to get my award. So
Wow, look
Yeah.
at that. Perfect timing.
Well, we don't mind.
You heard it
going.
here.
We don't mind going with you.
Yeah. Is that what you're asking?
Right. That's,
Sure.
I,
mean,
I
if you
heard him
want.
ask.
Sure, we're in.
Yeah. So we can video it.
No, we love-
that's super
that's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. All right.
All right. What's your scent? Is it like Perm Solution? Are you going to say something like that?
no, so I would have to say Spice Vanilla. That's what my beard balm and beard oil is. And I don't know why, but every morning when I put it on, I'm just like, oh my God. it
It's
smells
your
so
thing.
good.
Is it relaxing or is it motivating?
I think it's motivating. It wakes me up. It's like, all right, time to go kick today's ass.
There you go. I might change my answer to coffee. Thanks so much, Dave. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Awesome,
Dave,
guys.
we really
Thank you.
appreciate it. You're going to make a candle at some point, but, it could be vanilla spice.
Yeah. There
Me
you
and my
go.
wife are actually going to be making reservations while I was waiting to come on. I sent her the website, and my
you
wife
go.
goes, "We can leave Ainsley at home," which is my daughter, and she was like, "And we can come here on a date night."
Isn't that that great?
Yeah.
There you go.
Perfect date night.
See, Abby, we came through, sister.
And
you
let's
know?
see. So thank you, Dave. In the meantime, Abby, do we get an update on what Paige is doing right now? She's
What are
mixing
her
candle.
scents? Coffee, chai, and marshmallow. Oh, Paige, is that for me? Were you making it for me? Look at her face.
Paige, come on over here. Come on over here. So what did Abby set you up with?
So I have marshmallow, chai tea, and coffee beans. So I'm calling it a dirty chai.
Oh,
All right. And what
That's our
what are you
little
doing right
communications
now
major.
with it?
So I have a little I don't know what it's called, but I'm dumping wax into it, and I get to pick how much of each flavor
It's a little little funnel flask.
All right. It's like a shot glass.
Jigger. Yeah, I couldn't think
right,
of it.
right.
Jigger.
All right, cool.
Getting
All
jiggy
right,
with
thank
it.
you, Dave. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Awesome.
This is awesome.
Next up, Katie Blackley. That was awesome. Come on up, Katie. Cindy, are you sure you don't want to sit up here and just chime in? I tried. I whispered, and Cindy laughed. Sit right down. And there's wipes if you want them, Katie. Absolutely. And John, we have to mention, since we're not talking a ton about our blogs, we have Mulligan Mondays coming up. We forgot to talk about that at the beginning, right?
So up in Mercer County, there is going to be
Uppin'.
Mulligan Monday in Mercer County
Yeah,
at the
say that.
Spring Valley
Mama.
Golf Course. So what's happening is if you book yourself to golf on Mondays in May, on Mulligan Mondays, you will be entered into a prize, which is an Iron City beer golf bag and a stay over weekend at the Spring Valley Golf Club.
Yeah, how cool
and
is
a bunch
that?
of other prizes.
We love Mercer County because of
So
it.
go to Spring Valley Golf Club and Resort online, which we'll put the link in the podcast, and make your reservation to golf on Mondays in May.
Yep. And May 7th, we're doing Doors Open Pittsburgh at Johnny Angel's Ginchy Stuff and Bicycle Heaven.
Do you know Johnny Angel?
Super excited. Woo! All right, let's talk to Katie. Are you excited? Here's this story. Let me break this down. So I've asked Katie to come on the podcast 4 times, and she said no. That's it. That's the end of the story.
4 times? Oh my God.
No, it's 2 different times. And it's so funny because, and you will understand this, but there's so many people, the way the process we work is, as we said, so many places popping up in Pittsburgh that you want to go, right? And we do 51 podcasts a year. So there's only 51 places you can go. And then you have to think about all the staples that you have, like the Arts Festival and things like that. Picklesburg, we do that every year. So you get limited, right, on where you can go. And same with people, because you are evergreen. We could have you on any time of year, and you're going to talk about something interesting because you intrigued me. Oh my goodness, I think it's 6 years ago now when we met, and she did a fashion show. If you remember, we did the bicentennial.
I was there.
And she was just this young girl who, crazy.
I was so young.
So you're still so young, please. But I've watched your path specifically through WESA, and it's amazing that you have ignited something like WESA, where some people may have been like, oh, that's an old person's NPR, kind of put it in the can, who cares? And you've brought life through youth. And I just want to say thank you, because you've who have made it kind of stay where it is.
Thank you. I cannot take credit for the transformation of the station.
It's amazing, though.
I think we have gotten an incredible response of people interested in Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh loves itself and
Yes.
wants to know more about itself.
Well, and I think we're all good boasters of it. For people who don't know, how would you explain if someone said, Katie, nice to meet you. What is WESA?
WESA is the member station for NPR. So when you talk about public radio, it's primarily listener funded. 60% of our revenue comes from members, so people who give $10 a month, $20 a month. And because of that, we get to have a bit more independence. We pride ourselves in being non-biased, being accurate in truth, not leaning any sort of way. If you look at some of the surveys that they do of different media organizations that go liberal and Fox News over in conservative, we're almost always pretty close to the middle. So that's cool, and we get to report. And then Pittsburgh, we're WESA, we're on the south side, but a lot of us still work from home, which is cool and fine and great. But we're on the south side, and we've been around as WESA for 12 years now. We used to be WDUQ over at Duquesne University, which was a jazz station. But yeah, we're like a small little newsroom, just doing our best to get Pittsburgh local news out there.
I love
Katie,
it.
what about you? Like,
Yeah.
did you set out to be a journalist? Did you set out to be an NPR level like journalist, or were you headed a different direction and it sucked you in? Because it does seem to do that to many people. Like they get a little taste of maybe you wanted to be a writer, maybe you wanted to be a different type of journalist and radio, and it sucked you in. What was your pathway?
I had no idea what I was doing. I was like going in to be an English major, which my father made fun of me endlessly. He's like, oh yeah, with that English degree, have fun. And then I interned at WESA my senior year of college and fell in love with it. I had always grown up with NPR, but I was at WESA, like really immersed in that. I was producing a daily show, which is like, you guys know, it's fast paced, it's immersive, you're doing a lot. I graduated, worked at a different commercial station, and then they brought me back to WESA, and I've been there ever since. I think what I'm talking about here is kind of my history and culture beat that I've been doing, and the Good Question series and idea. So I would just like be the annoying person always being like, I wanted this story about the history of this and this and that. And finally my editor was like, all right, make this a series.
Yeah.
So
No, and that's what's great. So I'm glad that was the perfect segue. So it's called the Good Question Podcast, which is funny because, you know, we always do that. And when we have a little bit of a, competition, would you say? When we're talking to people, you know, if someone says, oh, that was a good question, I'm like, oh, please. You know, like he read my script, you know, that kind of thing. But it's so true because there's so many questions that Pittsburgh people have. I mean, the Heinz History Center is known for, you know, that kind of stuff because people want to know. But I love the fact, explain the process. Like I said at the beginning, you have 6 episodes in, which pretty cool, right? And you said you've had like over 900 people who are or questions of different people. So talk a little bit about the series.
yeah, the series started in 2017, and it's based on kind of a national model where, well, actually, it's nothing new. People send in questions. They're curious about something. That's journalism, right? You always want to know the answer. People send in questions through this little online portal. So it's been a series, which just means 4 minutes on on a radio station. You can visit it on the website. And finally, we were like, let's make this into a podcast. So over 900 questions have been submitted. Anything from how did my street get its name to what's the origin of the word Jagoff to, you know, is it Carnegie or Carnegie? All this different Pittsburgh stuff. And we've turned it into a podcast. So I kind of took some of those features I had already done and I mashed them together and made it into like a less than 15 to 20 minute podcast. So there are 6 episodes in the first season, and each has 3 stories in each episode. So it's a nice, you know, commute listen if you're walking your dog, taking your kids somewhere, like and you get to learn something, and it's about things that you observe.
Right. Yeah.
So you drive by that next time and you have a fun little story for the next visitor you bring to Pittsburgh. And I am the most annoying person to drive around the city with.
No, you're not.
Because they're always like, oh, okay. We'll get in a car sometime.
Different reasons, though, Katie. Different reasons.
I need a relaxing candle scent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and you're right. So like I said to you, I had listened, and as I knew you were coming on, I was like, I need to really, and I knew you did the question, but I love the fact that you took it a step further because that's what journalism is doing anymore, right? We're reinventing to stay relevant and to figure out who our audience is and how we can really relate to them. So you've done that. And what I love is that, you know, our podcast, you know, people say like, oh, well, how long is it? It really does go an hour. But as you see, it's because we have 4 different guests talking about, it's more magazine style.
Yes.
Now, as we're helping other people do podcasts, our first advice is keep it shorter because attention spans are not what they used to be, and it's niche. So people want to know, answer my question and move on.
Yes.
Right? So I love the fact, like you said, you walk your dog. It becomes a routine. You walk your dog. You do your treadmill routine, whatever it is. It's 15 to 20 minutes, and you're listening. You have their attention.
And you learn.
And you learn.
I think that's what people want.
Right. Are you familiar with the 99% podcast?
Yes.
That's exactly what it feels. Not you're copying, you're emulating, and it's your Pittsburgh guys because 99% was one of the first podcasts I ever listened to. I loved
it's
it.
so great.
The short drive, and you just learn something, you know, and that's what I think is kind of the magic behind yours.
That's
exactly what you
somewhat
said.
of the format. I've thought about as we move into season 2 or perhaps other things, like maybe doing more of a conversational format with a historian or something. But I do like, it was also easier to produce because I had already made them all.
Yes,
right.
So
Sure.
I was like, oh, I'll just
Yeah.
put them together. Some things, people got different jobs. I had to change their title. But overall, like you said, it's an evergreen series. History tends not to change too much.
Right. No, that's so true. And you're right. There's so many stories. There's a story within a story to uncover. And I'm sure that's what you're noticing is as you're answering one question, it's like, oh, now there's another one that I can kind of go back to.
Yeah. I mean, there's a story, I don't think it's in the first season, but it's about these big metal rings down by the rivers. Specifically, you can see them on the Allegheny River as it goes toward the point. And someone just asked, what are those metal rings? Their kid had been hanging off of it, and they got curious. And those rings were for boats when that used to be a big wharf. And the riverfronts used to have wharfs, and on those wharfs, they would have big Pittsburgh celebrations, kind of like we do with Point State Park now.
Sure.
Because there wasn't the parking, there weren't really many cars there, but they're boats. And so when the water got too high, they would latch onto those rings. So that's an example of like one small thing that actually speaks to a much bigger part of Pittsburgh history is the river traffic. The rivers brought everything here.
Yeah.
And are an important part of our industry.
Do you ever sneak your own questions in? Like,
Oh,
you're like
yeah.
John Smith from Northside, psych, Katie Blackley wants to know.
Right? Well, I haven't done it quite like that.
Yeah, right. I know, Katie.
But yeah, it just changed. I become British all of a sudden. Like, what?
That was good. That was good.
No, I mean, it's a curiosity series, so I just generally think if I'm curious about it, and I tell young journalists this too, if you're curious about it, odds are someone else has thought about it before. So sometimes I will. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Oh, no, I did just do one about these like architectural star joints that are put into the front. You see a lot of them in Lawrenceville, into the front of old brick buildings to help kind of keep them together, because as they get older, they tend to come out.
Yeah,
But they're
sure.
these beautiful architectural, sometimes they're stars, sometimes they're like music notes, and
Oh, so
they're
it's a
really
different
there.
image.
They're
Okay.
not there just for decoration. They're there to keep that building intact.
Really?
But I had seen them, so I was like, I'm going to do this story by myself.
I love it.
So
yeah,
now, are
that's a
you
great one.
originally a Pittsburgher?
I'm not. I'm from Ohio, but
So-
I came here for Duquesne.
And so what made you stay here? I mean, the job, because you seem like, you're like someone who's lived here and loved it your entire life. So,
Thank you. I don't know
so we
if I'll
captured
ever be
you
able
somehow.
to call myself a Pittsburgher, because Pittsburghers are very
Oh, we
Pittsburgh
could call
about
it. Oh,
that.
yeah.
You're okay.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
You're safe.
I think Pittsburgh has such a storied history, and it's unending. You can always learn something more. And it's evolving, and it's neat. I came at a time right when they were really saying, the eds and meds economy is what's taking over now. And so that got me curious about before, because I didn't grow up in an area with manufacturing. I didn't know a lot about steel mill or steel production, and
Sure.
learning all of that was really fascinating, and seeing how it's shaped our city now.
Yep.
And those things that were remnants of, we talked about earlier, one of the stories is about slag structures, and slag is an industrial waste material that used to be, carted all around the city, and they would dump it, and they would have this big to-do. But there's little remnants of it. There's like a little art structure of a slag pot, of a reamer, of a button, which are like lingo from the steel mill days along Route 51. So that was really cool. And then just like it's like big little city. You can go out and you can be anonymous, or you can go to the bar and know everybody there. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those, just makes you feel warm inside.
You know what?
And couldn't you listen to her for like days? Like I love
Exactly.
seriously,
Exactly. So I think of
My
like
fiancé would disagree.
how Yinzer Pittsburghers they become combative. Like I could think of something maybe you found out, but it's right because you researched it, but some Yinzer is going to say, oh my God, that's completely wrong. And the story
Yeah.
I always think of is we did a podcast from a place called Carmody's Bar in Neville Island, which used to be a very popular
that's
restaurant up in
cool.
Wexford. And for my entire life until 2 years ago, I thought it was Carmody's.
Everybody said
And I thought it was an
Carmody's, yeah.
Italian place. So we go to the bar on St.
St.
Patrick's Day, and turns out it's Carmody's, and it's been Carmody's obviously their entire life, and it's an Irish bar. But the coolest part was to have Sean Carmody come on the podcast and say, I've lived here my entire life. I used to serve at the other place, and he said people would be combative that it was Carmody's, and he'd say,
He's like, it's my place.
Hi, he goes, it's my grandparents, and they're like, no, Sonny, you're 13 years old. It's Carmody's. I've been coming here for 20 years, and I just wonder, how many Pittsburghers will combat some of this stories. Probably, oh no, this is whatever. But so actually, go back to I want to hear what was the origin that you know of the word Jagoff? Do we know that offhand?
It's a Scots-Irish thing.
Yes.
I think you know. And I haven't gone too much further into that. When we did our
Okay.
Pittsburghese story, I kind of focused less on the lingo like that, less on like Nebby and Jagoff and Sweeper, but more on the the formation of words and why I'll give you an example. You can tell if you have a Pittsburgh accent. Knox's Pierogi House. If you say Knox's Pierogi House, and
You can't even do it. God love you.
I don't have a Pittsburgh accent. I can't do it, but it's the word Knox's Pierogi
Knox's
House.
Pierogi.
I'm from Ohio.
Yeah.
Knox's Pierogi.
I know.
And it's that O and Knox and the and
Yeah.
Pierogi and the
Yes.
Haas and Haas.
And we have had on, where was she from? Carnegie Mellon?
Yeah, Dr. Johnstone, I think is
Oh,
her
yeah,
name.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Barbara,
She, we actually asked her, is it a swear word? She said, well, swear words are undefinable because you might think something's a swear word and you might not. But the fact is, she was saying it came from Jagger Bush, and poke, and like we used to poke people on Facebook. It was kind of like
Or
that.
like,
but,
we'll
that
say, I
kind
was
of
just
thing.
jagging around.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's like, who says
And
that?
she's-
Because
and
that's
so,
really
yeah, it
not
was
a-
kind of interesting that because we did a petition years ago and it was right down the middle. People said, oh my God, I got my mouth soaked when I said that. And others were like, no, my grandmother said it all the time. You know, that kind of thing.
But we say it as
yeah.
a term of endearment, so it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Right.
Totally,
You know?
totally.
Yeah.
I do that with the word nebby.
Yes.
It's like I was just nebbing around.
Yeah,
you know.
right.
I'm being
See,
nebby
you're a
today.
Pittsburgher. There
I
you
can
go.
do the words. I can't do the accent.
You
There
also,
go.
you should talk to Michael Troiani from the Troiani family. You know, he has a website about Pittsburgh and how we form our words, and he says it's a tongue thing.
It's monophongization is the
Yes.
official-
That's
Okay,
what
you
he
got
meant.
it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah,
But
he
it's-
educated
yeah,
us on
it's
that.
making
Yeah.
it's making your words simpler for your mouth. So down, you have to open down and just dan.
We're lazy.
It's a lot simpler.
We're lazy.
Yeah.
Simple
A little bit.
We're efficient.
yeah, there you go.
I
There you
love
go.
it. I love it.
Katie, I love it. Thank you so much for coming on because, like I said, I've always appreciated your work. We also have to welcome back Cindy Lash. I have to say that because she's
Cindy.
back.
She's
in
back.
there.
Right. We
Cindy.
played Red Rover at St. Louis with her,
Yes, yes.
right? So,
Yes.
yeah.
But welcome back. You're all doing amazing things. We love supporting it. And, please come back on and tell us how it's going because we would
For
love
sure.
to hear.
Yeah, it's been great to be with you all.
So where does everybody find you so that we know on social media, and where can they find the podcast as well as your news?
The podcast is called the Good Question Podcast with an exclamation point, just like you guys. It's on all podcast platforms. Thank you. And I would say the best way to follow is to follow the station 905 WESA. You can follow me too. I'm Kate Blackley on Twitter, but I run the social media for the station, so I will do all the promotions there. You can listen to the podcast there, and then our website, just wesa.fm.
That's great.
Well, we're 100% glad that Pittsburgh captured you and kept you here.
Yes.
And then
Glad to be here.
Then we got Cindy Lash back
And
here.
I'm
Because the
also
whole team
glad-
over there is certainly very...
Oh.
It's not, when you hear public radio, it's so...
different. It's
a
redefined.
professional level. It's not,
It's a
something-
vibrant crew.
yeah.
We're
Yeah,
vibrant.
yeah.
A lot of young women, and
Yeah.
we work really hard,
Yeah.
and we're just happy to be in the community.
And I love the fact, you are part of the PMP with us. And, we are one of the only podcasts, and now we're bringing others on. And I love the fact, we say there's sort of this double-edged thing, right? Where during the pandemic, everybody and their mother was coming. I have a podcast about this glass case, and it was like, oh, okay, here we go again. However, if you truly hone in on your craft and you try and you really make a point of learning, because we're still learning. I hate when we go on a podcast and people go, you've mastered it. No, we didn't. We're constantly trying to figure out what's next because we're getting old and we know that people need things freshened up. I love the fact that you've figured out like what works for your audience, and that's what's important in podcasting.
Well, I was
think.
telling Cindy, you two have just such a great rapport, and the
Oh,
energy
thanks.
you bring to these conversations is really delightful.
Oh,
So
well,
I
thanks.
think
That's
you're
very
doing a great
kind.
job.
Thank you. And
Very
same.
kind.
All right.
All
We're
right.
ending it because that was a good
Right,
note.
yeah. Mic
Thanks,
drop.
Katie.
All
We
right.
appreciate it.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Katie.
Oh,
All
we have to
right.
ask her the question of the day.
Oh, yeah, do it. And I'll
What's
get
your
Paige
scent?
to give us an update.
Did you?
Thought
No,
about it.
don't talk about here. Yeah, you have to think about it because as Abby was saying, grapefruit. I am a go-to grapefruit person, right? And then I was sitting here and Paige said coffee, and I'm like, that's my favorite scent. I don't know. What would you say?
I really like coffee. My fiance works in coffee, so there's a lot of coffee in my life. But I think I'm going to say old books because it feels.
That's a good
Oh,
one.
boy, that's a
You
very
know?
original scent.
I
Yeah.
want to be Katie when I grow up.
Abby,
She's-
Anthony,
she's
get that
good.
on the books there.
Old books.
Old book smell.
That's a good
Yeah.
one. Do you have it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. See, I don't know. Don't quiz me yet. I've only been here twice. You have 110 cents.
Nice.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Katie.
you so
that was
much.
perfect. All right. Next up, Jen Ether. That was awesome. Thanks. Well, it's good to see you.
All right.
We'll obviously tag you.
Come on in,
No.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. And anytime. We'd love to have you guys more often. Whenever.
All right, you're good. You can sit here
We
and
have wipes,
we have
or you
wipes
can use
if you
that
want one.
microphone. Or is that microphone in?
Huh?
Is that microphone working?
Yeah, yeah.
It's working.
Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Hey, how you guys doing?
Listen.
You're a breath of fresh air. That's all I can say.
Thank
you
you.
just like I could be completely miserable and you walk in the room and that smile just lights the whole thing.
I
up.
try.
I'm
And I love
you.
the fact that she was when Jen started talking, it was about how old are we, and talked about graduating a decade ago. I said, listen, we're going to beat you up because
really?
because
Oh, wow, you're
that's
saying-
really like current. But then it was about like, well, in rapper terms, veteran.
Yes,
Really?
vet. Yeah.
Yes.
When did you start?
Well, I formed my first rap group in the 4th grade. So
No
I was
way.
very young at it.
Okay.
I came up in a household
Okay.
where my parents, most of my friends, their parents are hip hop parents.
Okay.
So they came up they were partying like the 90s when
Yeah.
it was really popping.
my time.
My parents are 60s soul and
So are mine.
70s.
Yeah.
Yep, so my household really had a lot of
A
that
lot.
Motown, and I really didn't get introduced to the heart of hip hop till I stepped outside the house. And once
Okay.
I got it, I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I need.
And you're from Wilkinsburg, originally
Yes.
still there, that kind of thing. Awesome place, awesome area.
Yep, Wilkinsburg.
That's great to hear. So 4th grade, my gosh.
Yep.
So
But
does-
what technology was around in your 4th
There
grade?
was no real technology, so literally what me and my buddies did, it was 3 of us in the group. Everyone still raps today.
Okay.
So that's where you're kind of hitting into
Okay.
what you wanted
Sure.
to do.
Okay.
And we basically went down to our music teacher and made a negotiation like, hey, you got younger kids. We're in the 4th grade. Like, let us perform for kindergarten up to 3rd grade. And we had a manager. I gave her a briefcase, and we keep our raps in the manager's briefcase and tell our teacher, like, sir, we have a performance. So
That's
that
New
kinda
Edition
started
stuff.
it.
That's how New Edition started. You know, they
Yep.
literally would go back alley, and Mike would say, "Let's go," and we're gonna sing for you real quick. And they would literally, almost like Temptation style,
Yep.
they would literally stand there and perform for people so that they could get more. I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's
It
so
is.
hard today. You know, we make a point to talk to every musician because it's not just a matter of getting a song out there, because people could see your song and say, oh, that's great, but I don't remember who that is. It's
Yes.
important because everybody has a story, and it's an artistry that people need to understand Pittsburgh is full of, and we don't like celebrate it enough.
No, we don't. That's why I was so happy to find this podcast. Like I was
Yes.
telling my father, he's like, well,
Yeah.
what's it about? I'm like, well, they basically celebrate Pittsburgh.
Yes,
So it was like a
absolutely.
perfect fit. I
Yeah.
kind of knew, like, okay, you're celebrating the infrastructure, you're celebrating
Correct.
the people.
Absolutely.
So it's a good fit.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
it's
that's for
wide.
sure.
Now, do you know Frizzy?
No, but that name sounds a little familiar.
So we've had him on the podcast, and same thing, celebrate all of it. It's all music, and little do we know, even from Byron Nash, that from Rachel's father, who's a traditional musician, that he's a doo-wop kind of person. And what we're learning from Byron Nash in this Bridging the Gaps episodes that we're doing is that rap comes from doo-wop. You know what I mean? It goes way back.
Well,
to
pieces
that.
of so many different
and you can
music.
pieces
Yes,
come
well,
from a
because
long.
rap traditionally comes from the music being taken out of the public school
Correct.
system. So
Yes.
then
Yep.
everyone finding a different
Right.
way, taking their parents' records and
Yep.
destroying
Yeah.
them, basically scratching them up.
That's what they were doing.
Scratching the records up,
day,
but it's for
Right.
hip hop.
That's right. Well, my brother and I joke that my dad was a studio drummer for Motown. So like we knew,
That's
we
real
grew up
cool.
on 60s kind of blue-eyed soul, that kind of thing. So my brother and I would listen to like Biggie Smalls, Tupac, and my dad would be like, "What are you listening to? What's going on up there?" Because it's the 90s, right? And we're in the middle of this what's Bloods, what's Crips, what's all this stuff happening? We're just in Pittsburgh. Nobody
Yeah,
knows
there's
really
nothing.
what's going on. And we would secretly be listening because it was taboo at the time. Like, what? It's a bad time. But that music is still now, that was one of our questions of the day. Who do you like better, Jay-Z or Biggie Smalls? I mean, Biggie
Yes,
Smalls. But
yes.
anyway, it's every person can identify by a different genre of time.
Yeah,
And
it
I love
depends
that.
on, with all music, where
Yes.
were you at? Because you
Yes.
were more so in high school. So in
Right.
that time period, this is why I wasn't allowed to listen to the music. It was so
Correct.
controversial.
That's it.
That even the idea of who Tupac is today,
Yes.
like how we view him and how Tupac was viewed when he was here, that was totally different. So it was
Right.
like,
Crazy.
stay
Absolutely.
away from this hip hop stuff. We don't know what's going on.
And it's even my era, you know, I guess my dad talks about how people would say, Elvis is still alive. Like, what are you even talking about? People still say Tupac is still alive. Like, do you really think Tupac is dead? I'm like, yeah.
But certain people, Marvin Gaye, Elvis,
Yeah,
Tupac.
Marvin Gaye's another one. Yeah.
They live
it's so
forever.
funny. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So in the song that we're listening to, the clips in between, and we'll hear at the end of the podcast, is that you truly are a musician. You sing, you
Yes.
rap, you write the music as well,
Yes,
right?
yep,
So
I do
this
all the
isn't
writing.
stealing your parents' records and scratching them up, right?
No, no.
So it's fascinating because we heard you perform as before we started recording here, and that your voice is good, and
thank you,
I
thank
mean the whole thing is extremely entertaining. So where can Pittsburghers or even Pittsburgh expats who listen to the podcast, where can they find your music? And are you performing live? Have you kind of gotten through the COVID part of it and you're back to performing live?
No, as of right now, I'm really just stepping back out into the scene. So this would be
Okay.
like my first live performance that I've
Breaking
done.
news. Nice.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
you guys
We
gave me
like
that
it.
opportunity post-COVID. So if you want to find my music, though, I'm on Spotify, Gin Ether with a space in between, GIN space ETHER. And that's just for the audible. If you want to, or the audio, if you want to see any of the music videos, I shoot my own videos. I edit them by myself. So you can do that on YouTube, same name, Gin Ether.
All right. So you're
You made
from-
it easy. You made it easy.
Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
right,
I try
right,
to
right.
tell everyone to do that.
Yes.
Like, people have
Yes.
scattered names.
Right.
It's like, what the
Right,
heck?
right. It's at here, then underscore.
Yes,
yeah,
we'll
right.
never find
All right,
you.
so you're from Wilkinsburg. All
Yes.
right, so take us to Wilkinsburg. We're going to go for a sandwich. We're going to go for a drink. Where are you taking
Okay.
us around Wilkinsburg?
I would say for a one-stop shop,
Okay.
Salvatore's, right there on
Okay.
Penn Avenue.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can get a sub, chicken,
Yeah.
great fried wings, pizza, and they just added a bar as an addition, like right before COVID hit. So you
Okay.
get a whole
Oh.
beer.
All right.
Yep. So that's where I would say.
Okay.
It's like we know
Right,
you.
right. I know the McDonald's over there very, very well. Right there.
He is a
Yeah,
McDonald's
I know
junkie.
every
I don't-
McDonald's.
The ice cream
yeah.
machine is, you know
Always down.
it's not special. Like they
Well,
can't
let's see,
get the
we'll
ice
have to go and podcast from the ice cream machine at McDonald's.
never
right?
working.
That is so
Jen
funny.
Ether, thank you so much for coming on, and we're so happy to have you. We're glad that people can follow you because we want to promote local music, and it's super important.
Yeah.
What's your scent? That's the question of the day.
Oh, my favorite scent would have to be baby powder. I love baby
That's
powder.
another good one.
It is
No one
perfect.
has picked anything that I'm like, oh. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Of course, I don't know the vanilla smell that Dave's talking about, so I have to send my boys so that I can figure that out.
You have to have your boys grow beards out.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, are we gonna have Ginny
Yeah, you're gonna
perform one more
do
time?
another song.
Awesome.
All right, so we
All right,
found
you can
out
start
where
getting ready.
we'll read our ads while you get ready. And let's see, is that your dadager over there?
That's the dadager.
Dadager, right? I love.
Vernon.
We didn't give him a shout out.
Vernon is on it. He's getting
All right,
Bluetooth.
Paige, come on over here before
Oh, yeah,
we
fill us
start to
in.
close. So what process in the candle making are you right now? Oh, we're
What?
It's all finished. It was hardening the wax, and it smells delicious. I recommend everyone make a dirty chai candle.
Now, Abby, Anthony, come on over here. One of you guys, come on over here. Did Paige do very well at creating the candle? Is she like average level, professional level?
She's not a
What would you-
Candlezilla.
She's not a Candlezilla,
Candlezilla
right?
is a no. Is that right, Anthony? Because if she is, she's done on this podcast.
Not at all a Candlezilla.
Okay.
No.
All right, good. Did she ever say, stop it?
Nope, not once.
That's her phrase. That's her
That's
phrase.
Paige's
When she's,
phrase.
when, yeah, that is her phrase. When she's excited, she goes,
Stop it. Stop
yeah,
it.
so,
Yeah.
all right, cool. So we're going to give her an A.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
yeah.
cool.
Did you help sort of, produce the scent? Because she had like a bunch. Is that right?
Yeah. So usually we usually start with like around 5 or more.
Sure.
But yep. Just kind of
got her down to the 3.
Yep. Got down to the 3. Got to mix in, and then it smells
Real
great.
quick question I wanted to ask before.
Yeah.
Do you ever get to something where you go, oh, I've never smelled this before?
Yes.
Okay.
Because sometimes like we'll experiment and we'll be like, oh, okay, like that's
We could do this.
That's very different.
Okay.
But it's not bad.
Yeah.
Like sometimes like it really surprises you.
Yeah.
Like what things go well, like what goes well together.
Okay.
Like one time I had somebody I was working with and We did leather and lemongrass, and that's something that you typically wouldn't necessarily think right away to put together.
Yeah.
But it has become one of like my favorite scent pairs.
But you're a
Like,
lemon
it is-
person,
I am
so-
a lemon person too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just like it's something that really shocked me. But
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
I'll
like
take
I
it.
like it.
Yeah. That's sweet.
Say that 3 times
Yeah,
fast.
right.
Leather and lemongrass, leather and lemongrass.
Right.
Alrighty, Anthony.
All
thanks.
right. So, Anthony, Abby, thank you so much for having us here at Mixed Candle in Lawrenceville.
Company, but excellent. Not Campbell,
All right.
not.
right. And of course, thank you to Dave Peters, the barber. Dave is awesome. Actually, you talk about people we should have back. We should have updates on
No question.
fashion and styles. Katie Blackley and Cindy Lash was in the background. And thanks to Jen Ether.
Janether, and to WESA. You know, I forgot to say to the ladies, though, that we love WESA, but Bill O'Driscoll beat us twice out of a golden quill. That was why we were a little salty. We didn't get to tell them that.
All right. So now we're going to hear from Jen Ether. And
time.
thank you to, as we say, thank you to Rory Honda.
Rorik Honda is known as #1 for so many reasons, but the Civic, the Passport, and the Odyssey won best for residual value in 2022. Everyone has their Honda preference, so make time for Rorik Honda reps to learn which ride best suits your journey. As always, visit Rorik.com for all of your vehicle needs. Have an awesome rest of your weekend.
And remember, it is Jen_Ether. Yeah. I think yours is. Wait, whose was long?
I think
The Bluetooth is ready to pair. The Bluetooth is connected successfully.
Pretty brown eyes with them thick thighs. You blew my mind and got me hypnotized. Perfect in design.
Dadager.
The girl with a disguise. With a disguise. I was blind, baby, I was blind.
It's all good. Paige was there to help.
Pretty brown eyes with them thick thighs. Thighs. You blew my mind and got me hypnotized. Super fine, perfect in design. I know why. The girl wore a disguise. We're a disguise. I was blind, baby, I was blind. Showed me couldn't see them signs. Crossed the line one too many times. That happens every time. That happens every time. Run away, run. Get out quick with no delay. She wanna make me stay, cause in my mind she loved to play. Have a piece of my love, but first can we hump? Trying to leave me so stuck. Yeah. You can have a piece of my love, but first can we touch? Trying to leave me so stuck. I gave that girl a piece of me. She broke me down indecently. Yeah. I gave that girl a piece of me. She broke me down indecently. But now she claiming that she needed me. Should I give her a piece of me? Now she claiming that she needed me. Should I give her a piece? Pretty brown eyes with them thick thighs. Sit time. Talk my shit while she keep her lines. I can't deny her mind divine. Lost in space, got me trapped in time. Keep me on my toes and watch me grind. Lost in space, got me trapped in time. Keep me on my toes and let me shine. Let's go. I gave that girl a piece of me. She broke me down indecently. I gave that girl a piece of me. She broke me down indecently, but now she claiming that she needed me. Should I give her a piece of me? But now she claiming that she needed me. Should I give her a piece?
That was awesome. Woo! Have a good weekend, guys.